stand up for your rights. Bragg sang for the unions, for the workers to unite. The times they are changing, so give it to Dr. King. I ain't gonna play Sun City until every voice can sing. Come on your rocket ship, fly off to Mars. Take all your money and buy all the stars. But we ain't for sale like one of your cars. There's more. The Northern Star, that one's ours. Jill gets to play harmonicas for one bar. This machine kills fascists like Woody wrote so well. Joe sang Guns of Brixton, Spanish bombs and straight to hell. Black boys on mopeds, Sinead stood and fought. Joni cried when they paid Paradise and put up a parking lot. Climb in your rocket ship and fly off to Mars. Take all your money and buy all the stars. But we ain't for sale like one of your cars. But the Northern Star, that one's ours. When the world is lost and your rights are wrong, sing me a protest song. Go on, throw me a rope under northern lights and some words of hope. And when the singer's gone, the song lingers on. While you take Folsom Prison, Lennon sang Attica State. Lion sung we shall overcome and crush all seeds of hate. I want that to happen. Chuck D sang fight the power and Chapman born to fight. If I had a rocket launcher like Coburn felt that night. Climb in your rocket ship, fly off to Mars. Pay all your money and buy all the stars. But we ain't for sale like one of your cars. And the Northern Star, that one's ours. And the Northern Star, that one's ours.
This one has no title yet, but it's in the key of B. Dark and cloudy day, with daylight fading away, I ran outside to see the thunder rolling. 7 years have passed and the rain caused a collapse. That bridge between us swept down the line. Guess it was time. The river's burst its banks and now I think about is you. There's a handful of memories before it turned blue. Waterfalls on and on, it's too late for me. You're high and dry, so far away in memory. This time it won't leave my head. Rain is all that's left. It will flood the streets out with the dark shrouded all. 7 years have passed, and in all that time I've snatched just a moment of peace without your loving embrace. There's your space. The river's burst banks, and now I think about is you. There's a camp full of memories, for it turned blue. Water falls on and on, it's too late for me. You're high and dry, so far away in memory. You're high and dry, so far away in memory. Yeah,
It's Spirit of life, touch me, whisper to me, catch me to your bosom, then free me to cast dancing shadows in moondrops of wisdom.
I have a song presentation that I was hoping to try out at a place that has some well-read people, and I thought, what better place to walk into a room where you're going to find lots and lots of well-read people than right here at the Fuse Art and Open Mic. So this song I wrote, it's called Books and Botany, and it is about my attempts to reread Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. And I'm sure all of you are quite familiar with that book. But if you're not, this song is not about the book necessarily, but it is spending time inside the head of anyone reading it before they finally realize that this author is double downing on dystopia. He is not going to give you any glimmer of hope at the end. And even when I reread it, there's characters that I'm just cheering for. I'm like, you can break out of it. You can break the system. Come on, you can do it. But I tried to do a song in that vein that still had perhaps a little bit of hope and a little bit of acknowledgement. But first, a poem to get started for Books and Botany. Lab-generated bliss and a clear self-purpose. Yet every so often, the light shifts, a shadow falters, and the magic breaks. For a moment, they see the crest of freedom, and it scares them to death until they look down and see their shackles. Alas, they breathe easy and their heart rate slows in beautiful, ignorant rest. That's for the Laninas of this brave new world. And the song is called Books and Botany. A squat gray building, only 34 stories tall, caught my eye in the shadows from the grandiose magic of it all. It's opaque and tragic and so mysterious. When humans capitulated in powerless refrain, had a sense of dark faith, sought solace by leading in, not turning away. so mysterious. So mysterious. You want to know its weakness? It's the same as its power. Learning that you try to listen within, checking in hour by hour. Come on, Lenina, you got this. No. It's alive but barren. So mysterious. They'll be safe from books and botany. Oh, their lives. They'll be safe from books and botany. Oh, their lives. They'll be safe from botany. All their lives. All their lives.
Count the time, walk down the line. There's nothing here for you. You've had your chance, bet your match. This thus but could haunt you. Count the time, walk down the line. There's nothing here for you. You've had your chance, you've met your match. This love spell could haunt you.
Star-crossed lovers doomed to fail. Tale as old as time. It's such a crime to hurt my soul over a girl I couldn't hold. And now she's gone, 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 gone. That she's gone, I can't move on. Now that she's gone. Late last night I saw you in my dreams when I awoke, and you weren't there, you didn't care. Gone, 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 gone. Now that she's gone, I can't roll on. Now that you're gone, I paid the price of loving you, I paid the price to pay. I pray I won't regret the cost of living for today. Gone, 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 gone. Now that she's gone, I can't move on. Now that she's gone.
guess it's nothing in the hockey game. And I mention it because this is a song about goalies. He started out making saves while his brother owned his shot. Slappers, wristers, backhands, tap-ins from the slot. His first pads were old and used. They had rugged Vachon gloves. His mask was a wire cage, but at least it stopped the pucks. His brother used to say to him, if you want to be any good, make the other team beat you if they could. Make it save and a beauty. Try to stop the puck side to side in a butterfly with a little luck. Make a catch, a block, a save when we win the game. Team will raise their sticks in the air while the fans chant your name. He played all through his youth, made it to the pros. Couple of years in the minor leagues, he was ready for the show. First he was a backup, his time he had to wait. Pretty soon he was leading his team out of the game. Coach, he would say to him, if you want to be any good, make the other team beat you if they could. Make it save and a beauty. Try to stop the puck side to side in a butterfly with a little luck. Make a catch, a block, a save when we win the game. Team will raise their sticks in the air while the fans chant your name. Now he's in the playoffs, playing for the cup. The 7th game he's playing, and his team is up. He stops the puck, he keeps that light from coming on. When the buzzer ends the game, you know his team has won. As he skates the cup around the rink, fans, they all call his name. They begin to sing. He made a kick, save, and a beauty. You stop the puck side to side in a butterfly. You had a little luck, made a catch, a block, save, and now we won the game. Team will raise their sticks in the air while the fans chant your name.
You just can't
to plow water. And after a year of no snow, the boss let her go. She had to move in with her daughter. Hey, now is the snowplow's ready. It's time to start your day. It's gonna fly till the children come back. Now people need to get on their way. People need to get on their way. People need to get on their way.
Is to be a storyteller. I tell stories. I have a podcast on which I tell stories, so I mostly tell stories in a closet into a microphone like this, not in front of real people, but I wanted to come out and do it in front of real people. My podcast is called Retelling the Bible, so I do tell stories based on the Bible, but don't worry, they're not particularly religious. Doesn't necessarily matter what you believe about them. They are human stories. So the Bible only tells us a few things about the man that Jesus would have called his father. And one key detail is that Joseph was a carpenter, and that Jesus, for a time at least, also took up that trade. But here's the thing, the word doesn't mean what we often assume. It doesn't mean a prosperous artisan who would have maintained his own shop. What it actually refers to in the Bible in the historical context is an itinerant worker. Someone who worked maybe in wood, maybe in stone, but who made his living on construction sites. This then is my story of Jesus' childhood with his carpenter father. And it is, by the way, a story that I wrote on the occasion of the first Father's Day after my own father's passing. Jesus' very first memory of his father was of him leaving. Joseph would go far away for work. He would often leave at first light on Sunday mornings, and Jesus' mother would get him up and dressed so he could say goodbye. He would always hold his father so tight, almost as if he was hoping that he could hold him tight enough that he wouldn't have to go. And when he was old enough, Jesus remembered putting his feelings into words and asking Joseph why he had to go. And Joseph got right down on his knees in front of his son and spoke to him as an equal. "Your Abba has important work to do," he said. "You mean?" Jesus wanted to know. "You have to build important palaces and walls for the king in the big city?" "Well, not really," Joseph smiled. "I mean, sure, I do get some work on some of the king's work sites, but his plans for a big, beautiful city are not what are important to me. I go because it's the only way that I know how to earn enough money to make sure that you and your mother and your little brothers and sisters have what you need to live. You are my important work." And so Joseph would go, often for 4 or 5 days at a time. And Jesus would wait impatiently for his return. As the days went by, he would stare more frequently towards the distant city, hoping to see Joseph trudging home. When he would spy him coming, he would immediately drop whatever he was doing and run towards him, shrieking with delight. He would never forget the smell of his weary father coming home. A mixture of sweat and sawdust and several layers of dirt and grime on his skin. It was the most beautiful smell in all the world. And though Joseph always came home exhausted, he would still take the time to sit with Jesus and tell him stories of everything that had happened while he was gone. Jesus would listen in rapt attention And so it was that Jesus learned how to tell stories from a master of the art. As Jesus grew, the day came when he was finally old enough to join his Father in the work. He was still young. No hair had yet sprouted on his chin, but he knew that anything he could do to contribute to the household would make a big difference for the growing family. He had heard his father's stories so many times that nothing that happened on his first trip to the city really surprised him. But it was still quite something to experience it for himself. They arrived early in the morning and went to the marketplace to sit and wait for someone to come and hire workers for the day. And they would come in dressed in their good robes, architects, master builders, masons, and quartermasters. And they would call out how many people they were looking for to work on their sites for that day. And the men would line up to be inspected with a critical eye. At first, as you can imagine, they hesitated to hire Jesus. Too young, too small. Joseph had to insist at first that he would not go to any work site without his son. And that usually persuaded them, for everyone knew that Joseph was a good worker. So Jesus spent many days working alongside his father. They were always golden days when he remembered them. Even though the work was exhausting, the hours were long, his father taught him everything, from the use of simple tools to the most efficient ways of shifting heavy boulders and piles of wood. And that was how their life went for years. They were always on the move, going wherever work was to be found. Sometimes, for several days at a time, there was no work to be had. And those were hard times. And Jesus, a young and growing boy, might have grumbled at being hungry. But his father encouraged him. Ask, and it will be given to you, son. Search, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. And he meant it literally. They would pray and ask God for what they needed. They would also not hesitate to ask for hospitality or to knock on a door they were passing. Jesus was constantly amazed how kind and generous people could be, even when they did not have much themselves. And Joseph, for his part, also demonstrated an equal willingness to share. Whenever he had anything to spare, he would give to anyone who asked of him, and do it joyfully. Of all the lessons Jesus learned from his Father, that was the one that drove deepest into his soul. As time went by, the dynamic changed between father and son. Jesus grew bigger and stronger, and was more likely to be picked first when people were hiring. Meanwhile, Joseph grew slower. He was not old, at least not by our standards, but he'd been wounded so many times in the work by falling stones and bad hammer blows that he bore many scars. And the knuckles on his fingers had swollen and were slow to move, and often caused him much pain. But he was still a valued worker. His years of experience outweighed the limitations to his strength. The master masons who supervised the work never would have admitted it, but they often deferred to him when it came to judging whether a foundation was well laid or a structure stable enough. And so Jesus continued to learn from his father about the importance of solid foundations and building well. As the years went by, King Herod Antipas stopped his building projects in Sepphoris to build a new city called Tiberias on the shores of the Sea of Galilee. And that meant that the laborers who lived in Nazareth, much closer to Sepphoris, had to travel further and be away longer than ever. But Joseph and son didn't have any choice. To Tiberias they went. Once they stayed there for 10 straight days, pausing only from their work on the Sabbath. Towards the end, everyone had been working so hard for so many days that they were all getting reckless, cutting corners. Joseph noticed the flaw in the wall before anyone else did. And when Jesus heard his warning, he knew well enough not to hesitate. He dropped his tools and stepped back immediately, calling on the others around him to do likewise. One young man was new to the work. He did not recognize the urgency or the wisdom in the old man's voice. He continued with the task he had been given, fearful, perhaps, that he might not be paid for the day if he didn't finish it. It had been many years since Jesus had seen his Father move so fast. He grasped the straggler, and with a strength that he had almost forgotten he once had, he bodily flung the young man out of the danger zone. Unfortunately, having accomplished such a thing, Joseph had no reserves of strength or speed left to get himself to safety. When they finally dug him out of the debris, Joseph was still breathing. But everyone understood that it would not be for long. As his son took his hand, Joseph used his final breaths to set Jesus on a course that would change history. He made him promise that he would not spend the rest of his life traveling from job to job only to earn enough to get by. There's something special about you. Joseph gasped between ragged breaths. I've always known it. You have been sent to announce a different kind of kingdom than the one that Herod is trying to build up. You must turn your heart fully to that work now. Joseph returned his father's body to Nazareth. There he mourned him together with his mother and his brothers. But once the time of mourning was over, he headed out to the far side of the Jordan, where he'd heard a man named John was baptizing people. But he never forgot his father. When sometime later he heard of a tower that collapsed in Shiloh, killing 18, he remembered holding his dying father in his arms, as if it had only just happened. And surely when he taught his followers that you should never blame the victims of such disasters for what happened to them, that they were no more guilty than anyone else, no more worthy of destruction, a few tears must have formed in his eyes.